Hello, I'm Dwayne Geldart, and welcome to Keeping Pace. On today's show, we'll have the final of the Pepsi Endurance Series. We'll talk with trainer Philip Lynds about the big year he's been enjoying, and we'll check in with Dave Carey, who's been recently sidelined due to a racing accident at Truro Raceway. But first, here's Doug Harkness with a report on recent racing developments from the Maritimes.
Well, catching up on some developments in the maritime harness racing scene, the appeal board of the Maritime Provinces Harness Racing Commission has given Danny Romo an additional 60-day suspension and increased his fine from $500 to $1,000 for being the trainer of record of Blue Amigo, the 2-year-old colt who tested positive after the Dairy Queen Futurity race. The appeal board took Romo's evidence that he was not actually the trainer of the horse, but because he was the trainer of record of the horse, he was given the additional fine. They felt it was a serious matter. Romo will be allowed to be on the grounds until 4 o'clock in the afternoons to conduct some of his business, but won't be back up until January the 25th. Meanwhile, at Tartan Downs in Sydney, the Maritime Harness Racing Commission has held meetings with the horsemen and track officials there. There's a possibility that track may be closed because of the taxes it owes the city of Sydney. However, they had a meeting last week, and there are hopes that some arrangement will be made that Tartan Downs continue to race, at least on a part-time basis, under the stewardship of the Maritime Harness Racing Commission. We'll be following that story on future editions. This is Doug Harkness for Keeping Pace.
Keeping Pace and Paz Chevolds, Central Nova Scotia's largest GM truck dealer, are proud to offer official Keeping Pace t-shirts. If you send us a story idea and we use it on the air, we'll send you one. So forward your ideas to Keeping Pace, care of Eastern Cable, Channel 4, 69 Walker Street, Truro, Nova Scotia, B2N 4A8. Official Keeping Pace t-shirts are only available through this offer. Philip Lynds has been enjoying another great season in the training ranks with such stars as Hornby Blaze, Endangered, and the stakes filly Island Piper. Doug Harkness talked with Philip about his season.
Well, Philip Lynds, you've enjoyed another big season as a trainer. Hornby Blaze and Endangered from your stable have just been excellent. Tell me, what's the status for these horses now?
Well, right now, Doug, they're home out the farm resting a little bit. They come home. It'll be 2 weeks this Monday. We brought them home. Both of them raced well after the season was down here. We sent them out to Montreal and both raced well. Endangered, he had won 5 in a row, took a new record of 54-4. And Hornby Blaze, he raced in the invitation class and beat them twice up there and won in 55 flat, which was a new mark for him. And he was second one night by a head, I believe, in 53-3.
And racing the likes of Broussard, too, is just a great racehorse.
Oh, he's raced super. He's raced against Broussard. His last start that he won, he raced against Broussard. Broussard finished second, and we're just real pleased with him. He raced tough all year. He's been racing for about a year and a half, and the little horse just doesn't seem to be tired. I don't know why. He should be, but just seems to keep going each week.
You certainly have to be happy with a horse that you've had a lot of confidence in since he came out in the 3-year-old year and Endangered. He had a big year, too.
Like I told you before, I think I get the most pleasure out of him. You had seen him train as a yearling, and then as a 2-year-old, you would never believe he would have taken a record of 54-4, but he's really come a long ways. He's got a few bad habits, but I guess we can overlook him for the way that he raced.
Philip, I understand that there's some plans to race these horses in the big track at the Meadowlands early in 1995, rather?
Endangered for sure. He's paid up into a couple early closers. We think he'll do well on a big track like that, so we're going to give him a chance there in January and February. Hornby Blaze, we're just going to play it day by day and see just exactly what comes about. There's nothing there for him in early closers, so if he goes down, he's going to be racing awful tough. So we're just going to wait and see and take it day by day.
Now, you've got another old friend back in your stable in No Worries, who was just a great invitational horse in 1993, won the Provincial Cup at St. John and the Governor's Plate in Summerside. He's back in your stable?
Yes, it was a year right to the day that we sold him that he landed back here in Truro. I got the opportunity to know the owner that has him now, and he'd raced well down there all year, and we were talking back and forth on the phone, and different times we had tried to buy him back and just couldn't get a price tag negotiated out. And one day he just asked me if I'd be interested in taking him up here. Well, you don't turn down a type of horse like that. And we went down and got him, brought him home, and the owner's the type of fellow that he likes to travel. He's been up here already once to Nova Scotia, the first time he was ever here, and he's going to come back and forth and watch him race. I think we're going to stand him stud and breed a few mares with him, and I think it's just a vacation outlet for the owner.
No worries. Will he be in the box fairly soon?
We qualified him last week. He was a little short. He had been off about 3 weeks, and he was the type of horse that doesn't like a whole lot of training. So we're going to play it day by day. I imagine if they need him for this Sunday, we'll put him in the box, and if not, he'll be in to qualify. But he'll be there knocking on the door in a couple of weeks, I would think.
Great. Well, it's good to have a good horse back that kind of strengthens their invitational field even more.
Oh, yeah, he's just a nice horse to be around. He really likes the Truro track. I think he could go more over a half mile than he could on a big track. So we look for him to be real strong again this winter.
Well, Philip, thanks very much for spending this time with us, and congratulations again on a big season.
Thanks very much, Doug.
The Pepsi Endurance Series over 1.5 miles produced some surprises in the opening leg, with First Line Mac and Island Link winning their divisions. First Line Mac was trained by Philip Lynds and driven by Darren Crow. Doug Harkness talked with them about their chances in the final.
Philip Lynds' First Line Mac came up with a big performance in the Pepsi Series eliminations. 1.5 miles suit this horse?
I thought he would. That's why we put him in there. He seemed to be the type of horse that seemed to go quite strong at the end of the mile, and never seemed really to get in gear to almost the end of an ordinary mile. So we put him in. He drew the rail, which made a big difference, but he showed that he liked it.
Will you train a horse for 1.5 miles any different?
We trained him a little different. This horse here is one of the few horses that doesn't go out to the farm on a regular basis, but we took him out to the farm, freshened his attitude up a little bit, and brought him in a day late, not like we usually do, and we trained him the last 2 weeks 1.25 miles, and changed his warm-up schedule on race day just a hair. So we did make a few changes, yes.
Well, Darren, first of all, congratulations on your victory last week. You got kind of a good trip.
Yeah, it was a real good trip. Worked out real good for him. He's kind of doesn't have really any quick speed, but he can grind it out. He doesn't mind roughing it. Worked out good for him. Pretty even fractions.
This horse, as you say, he's sort of a grinder, and he got away well. Is that his real strong fort in a series like this?
I'd say, like, he could probably race he races good from anywhere. He's nice to drive, and he doesn't take a whole lot out of himself. A lot of them are bowling and smashing, going them slow fractions, but he should be all right. He's nice to drive, and he doesn't take a lot out of himself.
Yourself, do you use any different strategy in a race like this?
Well, I had my watch with me the other day. A lot of people don't carry watches now, but I knew how fast we were going, and kind of just wanted to keep back off the pace. Pooker's horse was cutting a pretty good mile, so I figured I'd just sit back till I had to move anyway. So, worked out for the best.
We want to wish you good luck Sunday, and First Line Mac, you think he's got a pretty good chance?
Well, he had the fastest time, pretty good last quarter. I'd say he got a shot anyway. Hope so.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Island Link, who won the other division of the Pepsi Endurance Series, was trained by Blair Laffin and driven by Robert Laffin. Doug Harkness checked in at their stable for a pre-race assessment.
Well, Blair Laffin, congratulations, first of all, for your victory with Island Link in the first leg of the Pepsi Series. As a trainer, do you train them any differently for 1.5 mile contests?
I didn't train him no different, no. I hardly ever train him. He raced Thursday night. He never trained for Sunday anyway, just jogged Saturday and raced Sunday.
This horse was good Sunday, came home good. Is that going to help him in the series, the fact he can get home so well?
Oh, it should. Like, that's the way he always races. He races from behind anyway. He's never going to hurt himself. He's just that type of horse. He races from behind, gets what he can get. He don't win a lot of races. Maybe the other half mile, maybe we should have some more for him.
What do you think about these 1.5 mile races, the different distance? Do you like them as a trainer?
I'm going to do now with this fella anyway. I'd sooner go some short ones. Most of my horses are front enders. So shorter miles would help most of mine.
But it is different. I think the fans enjoyed it.
Well, I think so. They bet it pretty good anyway. I think they liked it. It was a good race, this first race coming the mile. I think there was 9 of them there, and the 10th horse was looking for a place to go. So it really looked like a good race.
Competitive fields, regardless how fast they go sometimes, right?
Yeah, it didn't matter what horses, like 2,000 claimers or 6,000. Like Classy Win was in there, no debtor. They was all in a bunch, you know.
Well, Robert Laffin, congratulations on your victory last week with Island Link in the first leg of the Endurance Series. As a driver, he must have gone a pretty good trip for you.
Yeah, he did. He raced real well.
This horse kind of likes to come to the back end, though, doesn't he, Robert?
Yeah, he really doesn't get geared into about the three-quarter pole in a regular mile race, so the mile and a half just suit him perfect.
How do you think he'll be this week now?
All depends post position.
Is post position really important in a race like this?
Oh, it is. If you're sitting way back and you're moving open, you got to come 3-4 wide. Well, that's where disadvantage there.
You kind of took the short way home last Sunday.
Yeah.
Robert, want to wish you the best with Island Link in the Pepsi Series, and also want to congratulate you. You reached the 1,000-win plateau, and none of us knew about it.
No, I never knew either.
But 1,065 wins in your career, and you've driven some good ones, and good luck again Sunday.
Okay, thank you.
And now let's go to Doug Harkness to set the scene for the championship final of the Pepsi Endurance Series.
Well, 9 horses earned a berth in the Pepsi Endurance Series final after the elimination heats. The elimination heats, of course, were won by First Line Mac, with the trainer being Philip Lynds and Darren Crow driving, while the other division went to Island Link, driven by Robert Laffin and trainer Blair Laffin. Both these horses, that we figure, had a pretty good chance in the 1.5 mile final, which goes for a purse of $3,575. Miss Ruby Mac, one of the horses that finished third last week, improves her position on this week's final, drawing post 1 for Jimmy Davis. Island Link from post 2, a good post position here. Sonny Mac was leaving from 3, and another New Brunswick entry, Jabulani, with Jill Berrio leaving from post 4. Jabulani finished real well in the elimination last week. First Line Mac drew post 5. That's a bit out, but still he can race first over. USA Made from post 6. The only 3-year-old in the race, the Cuckoo Clock son called Belle Al Bay, driven by Phil Pinckney in this race, replacing the regular driver John Ewell. Call Me Fitz from post 8. And a horse that we like here, Classy Win. Classy Win finished big last week to finish third. She leaves from the trailing post 9 right behind Miss Ruby Mac today for Gary McDonald. And we figure that Classy Win, finishing third last week, has the class and the stamina to be the winner in this race. But let's go to Joe Kelly now for his call of the 1.5 mile final of the Pepsi Endurance Series.
They are off, and as they lead the gate, First Line Mac emerging on the outside, looking for the early lead against Island Link as they race into that first turn. Island Link coming away on top. Classy Win follows out in the pocket up on the outside and racing third as they head on to the opening quarter. And now driving up looking for the lead is Sonny Mac. Sonny Mac driving up now to take charge. Island Link is second. Classy Win gets away tied up third. Miss Ruby Mac is next in line fourth. First Line Mac has 5. Then Belle Isle Bay from 6. John Bulani in 7. 8th on the outside, USA Made. Call Me Fitz is 9th and sitting at the back of the field. 30-2 was the first quarter. They move off the top turn and approach the halfway point. Island Link has moved up and reclaimed the top spot by 1 length with Sonny Mac now sitting second. Moving up on the outside, first over, Miss Ruby Mac is racing third. Classy Win stays at the rail fourth. Outside racing in 5. That's the half mile. Is number 7, Belle Isle Bay. 6th and locked in is First Line Mac. USA Made third over in 6. Jabulani at the rail in 7. 8th is Jabulani, 9th on the outside. As they move on to the backstretch, is Call Me Fitz, the half mile, 103-2 down the backstretch. Island Link is still the boss by 1 length. Sonny Mac in pursuit second. Miss Ruby Mac first over is racing third. Classy Win is caught in along the rail racing fourth. Second over in 5. As they continue into the turn is Belle Isle Bay in along the rail and racing out of 6 with nowhere to go is First Line Mac. USA Made has 7. Only Fitz on the outside 8 and now 9th and trailing. As they move off the top turn is Jabulani, the 3/4 of a mile in 1:37 and 3/5. They move off the top turn and move up and approach the mile mark and up on the outside and sweeping up quickly now to take charge is Call Me Fitz. Call Me Fitz taking over by 2 lengths. Racing along second as they dip into the turn is Island Link. Jabulani is out there 3 wide fourth. They head up the backstretch. 2:10-2 was the mile. They move on to the 1.25 mile. Call Me Fitz leads the way by 1. Island Link is second on the outside third. is Miss Ruby Mack. Sonny Mack along the rail, fourth. Fifth, and looking to get off the rail is Classy Win. Jabulani outside has 6. They race on to the upper turn. Call Me Fitz is the one to catch. 2:39 and 1 was the mile and a quarter. It's Call Me Fitz by 3/4 of a length. Island Link coming to the outside now, trying to close in second. Sonny Mack third. Miss Ruby Mack fanning out 3 wide fourth. Here they come through the lane for the final time. Call Me Fitz. Island Link on the outside is forging to the top. Island Link will get up to win the Pepsi Series final. Finishing second is Call Me Fitz. Third is Miss Ruby Mack.
The next leg closure event to take place at Truro Raceway will be the Owen's Brewery Series for 3-year-olds. Doug Harkness checked in with race secretary Joe Kelly to see what type of response the series has drawn.
Joe Kelly, the Pepsi Endurance Series attracted a good number of starters and very competitive field. How's the 3-year-old series shaping up?
Pretty good. I'm quite pleased with the nominations we've got so far, Doug. We received 21 nominations, and of them 21, we've got what looks like to be a pretty competitive field. There doesn't look like to be any standout or layover in the field.
I noticed from the list that you sent us along that there's some nice horses in it, like Cat Scooter, who won the division of the Donnie Turner, Garvin's Playboy, racing in the top class in Charlottetown. Gives these horses a little chance to make some money who actually haven't made $7,500 this year.
Well, that's the idea of the series, to keep some of the 3-year-olds racing late into the year, and some of them that didn't have quite a bit much success on the year. Of course, they didn't win $7,500 in '94 up to October 15th, so it gives them a chance to race for an added purse money event at the end of the year.
Some horses that seem to come on, like the filly out of Cape Breton who won the Open Mare's first twist is in the series.
She was nominated to the series. I understand her last start, though, she was injured, so she may be a question mark as to whether she makes the second payment. We do have some nice 3-year-olds in the field. Of course, there's a couple out of Phil Pinkney's barn, Love You Later, who's competed in the 1251 class pretty well all year. He looks like he might be one of the better ones in the series. Of course, Rollo Bay Fighter, who had an outstanding 2-year-old year, didn't get on track or didn't get to the races until late this year, so missed most of the stake action. So this series fits in quite nicely. We have Aries Brandon out of Cape Breton, who was purchased here by Gerald Rogers in Truro. He won in sub 2-minute speed here at Truro. He looks like he fits the series quite nicely as well. Master Cam, who raced, who had a stint down in the United States, but wasn't too successful down there, came back here and looks like he's back in form. We have Radiant Herods. George McLean owns and drives this 3-year-old. He seemed to be off there for a while, but he's back on track. He just won 2 in a row in 2 minutes. Jacob Tutu, who's competed on the stakes trail all year out of St. John, he's paid up. Garvin's Playboy, who seems to be enjoying quite a successful year, turned right around from when he raced here in Truro, and now I understand he's racing in the top class over in Charlottetown. And like as you mentioned, Cat Scooter, a winner of the division of the stake here in Truro in the Lofty Hardy. So it's rounding into quite a competitive field.
Think you'll have enough for 2 divisions?
It looks like we have 21 nominated, so as long as we get, looks like we should get 16 out of this, making the second payment, which would give us 2 divisions.
Good. Thanks very much, Joe Kelly.
Thanks, Doug.
Until recently, Dave Carey was the leading dash winner in the region with 115 wins. A recent accident at Truro Raceway sidelined the popular driver. Doug Harkness talked with him about harness racing safety.
Well, Dave Carey, you're on the sidelines in a year that looked like you might very well end up as the top maritime dash winner. It must be disappointing.
Yeah, it is. Like, fellow doesn't get in that position. It would have been nice to win it, but we I kind of fell into the chance to win through Stevie Mahar going away. So I guess maybe what comes around goes around, huh?
Yeah. But certainly you were the leading dash winner in Truro at the time with 108 and still are at this moment. And you were having a good season and your stock seemed to be racing well right through the year.
Yeah, we had a good, consistent year this year. I tend a lot of times to have a good winter and then things bottom out a bit in the summer. But this year we stayed a little more competitive all through the year, and it helped. Like basically most of the time I raced raceway horses mostly, and when the young horses are coming up through the classes in the summer, it makes it a little tougher for my stock. But this year it wasn't quite so bad. So, but it was disappointing to have it happen now.
Dave, it was certainly a spectacular type accident. Just what happened? Can you kind of set the scene for us?
Well, it was a stretch drive, and Danny O'Brien's mare was coming out across the track looking for room, and just as he was lined up with the horse that was in front of him, he jumped. And he went over his wheel, and I was behind him, and I went over his wheel. It was just a chain reaction. There really wasn't a whole lot of time to do anything about it. It was there, and you were gone. It's just one of them things. A fraction of a second later, I think everybody would have been clear. Danny'd have been clear, and I'd have had room to go to the inside, and just one of those things. Horse racing, I guess.
You took quite a tumble, and I guess a chip bone in your arm. You're going to be out for how long?
I don't know really how long. It's a broken bone. It's just a small bone in my elbow. Like my arm and hands were bruised up pretty good. I really don't know how long. I was up to the doctor the other day, and he said before I got full movement in my hand, I'd probably be 12 weeks. But I don't think it'll take that long to get back to work. But I expect it's going to be, close to a month maybe.
I know, Dave, when we have these accidents, and we had 2 in a row, back-to-back races, your race and the first one on a Sunday card, sometimes we look for reasons for it. Is there any way that we can improve the safety of it, or it's a dangerous sport, isn't it?
Well, any sport where you're going 30 miles an hour with no protection, it's bound to be dangerous to a certain point. But I don't know what we can do. All the time they're doing things to try and make it safer. I mean, a few years ago they took the hub rail out, which was the biggest thing they've done in decades. If you remember back when they put wheel disc on, that was because of the safety factor. And there's a lot of other things you can do, but somewheres along the line it's going to happen. You have horses that make breaks, things that happen, and there's only so much you can do. It's not much different than any other sport, really. Car racing, they do everything they can. There's still accidents.
And I guess, like in everything else, when you're going at that speed and you have to make split-second decisions, whether you leave the hole, whether you stay in it, that human error is also a factor that I guess it's going to always be.
Oh, definitely. Like anytime you're not using a computer, you got human error, and people make mistakes. I've made a number over the years myself. I'd like not to have made, but it's going to happen. There's nothing you can do to stop that. Human error is just a fact of life in anything you do. Same as driving a car along the highway. Most accidents are human errors. So.
I ask you this question: when you've had a number of spills in your career, and some tough ones, does it ever bother you when you start to get back on? Do you think about it?
Oh, you might think about it when you're getting on, but you don't usually think of it when you get out there. If you do, you shouldn't be there. If you start having second thoughts, I'm a great believer in that if you start having second thoughts, you shouldn't be there, because then you do make mistakes. You start things like that. But no, they just seem to be a little harder every time I get down. That's all. Like age is catching up with me, I think.
Well, Dave, we look forward to seeing you back up, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
West River Diesel, a 4-year-old Maritime-bred pacer, is ending this season as one of the top pacers in the Maritimes. Diesel has been unbeatable in recent starts. Here again is Doug Harkness.
Well, Joe Kennedy, who is one of the syndicate known as the Turbo Racing Stables, the people who own West River Diesel, the 4-year-old Harrods gelding who has raced so well this year in the Maritimes, joked in the Winner's Circle a couple of weeks ago that he'd like to see the Gold Cup and Saucer race held in November or October. It seems that West River Diesel gets better as the season progressed. This time last year, he was probably the top pacer in the Maritime scene, and again this year, the 4-year-old Maritime bred has emerged to be the horse to beat in the preferred class at Truro Raceway. He had reeled off 3 straight wins, and including in those victories were a couple over the world champion Chatham Light. The last start for Chatham Light at Truro Raceway will be coming up. Romeo Boucher, his owner, has decided to give Chatham Light a well-deserved rest after earning over $20,000 this year. But now we go to the action at the preferred class at Truro Raceway with West River Diesel, Chatham Light, Almahurst Bucky, all going for honors. But here's Joe Kelly for the call.
They're off and pacing. Stone Riggs Kid off the gate quickly, looking for the lead against Pocketful of Gold and Escort Abe. Almahurst Bucky up on the far outside, caught 3 wide fourth. They head by the opening 8th on their way down the backstretch. Stone Riggs Kid has quickly taken charge, hustling up on the outside. Chatham Light in along the rail and racing away 3rd. Pocket Full of Gold. Coming away 4th, Escort Abe. Roffit's Cashback has 5. West River Diesel in 6. Burnin' and Elmhurst Bucky. They move past the quarter. Chatham Light is your leader. He has the field by 1 length. Stone Riggs Kid is the tied up 2nd. Pocket Full of Gold takes a look in 3. Holding down the 4th spot in the early going is Escort Abe. Roffit's Cashback has 5. There goes West River Diesel up on the outside from 6. 28 and 2/5 seconds was the opening quarter. They move off the top turn and approach the half. They're led by Chatham Light. 1 length on Stone Riggs Kid. Pocket Full of Gold eyes the outside 3rd. In along the rail, racing 4th is Escort Abe. West River Diesel now picks up cover on the limb in 5. Roffit's Cashback has 6, followed by Elmhurst Bucky 7. And at the back of the field is Burnin'. They were past the half in 58 and 3/5 seconds. They straighten out down the backstretch for the final time. It's still Chatham Light maintaining an advantage of only 1 length. On the outside is Pocket Full of Gold. In along the rail, locked in Stone Riggs Kid. West River Diesel is coming 3 wide 4th. They race on to the top turn. West River Diesel out there 3 wide. Drives on by now. Chatham Light at the rail is now 2nd. In along the rail 3rd. Stone Riggs Kid. Pocket Full of Gold is 4th. 1/8 to come. 1:29 and 1 3/4. West River Diesel has taken over and draws out to 3 lengths. Chatham Light will try to hang on to the place spot. Stone Riggs Kid is 3rd. Through the lane for the final time. West River Diesel will win it. Chatham Light finishing 2nd. Stone Riggs Kid 3rd.